In his narration of his own personal experience in his supposed recovery from alcoholism, Bill relates the story of being in a hotel in Akron, Ohio, at which time a business deal that he had been planning to take to fruition fell through. And he knew, as he was pacing the lobby of that hotel like a caged animal, that he was going to pick up a drink. Lured by the sound of the tinkling of the piano through the closed barroom doors, and the laughter and the tinkling of ice and glasses behind those same closed doors, Bill had an experience that inspired him to walk to the hotel desk and ask for a fistful of nickels. Adjacent to the desk was a list of churches in the neighborhood, and he started calling churches looking for somebody to help. In my way of being, the synergistic effect that happened when he was connected with Dr. Bob, an oncologist laid up in a hospital suffering from addiction and in withdrawal from his abuse of alcohol, was the spiritual connection that ended up eventuating in the creation of Alcoholics Anonymous. It was the synergistic effect of Bill talking to Bob, in which the essence of spirituality and human beings helping each other became concrete material and what became the foundation for Alcoholics Anonymous as it is today. There's a phrase that's bandied about in Alcoholics Anonymous. That phrase is rigorous honesty. And I've always had problems with that rigorous honesty because I've always had problems with organized religion. And a lot of what people think is religious morality, to me, is totally immoral. When I look at the world and the course history has taken, realizing that a lot of murder, mayhem, chaos, and catastrophe has occurred as a result of human beings battling over each other over their religious ideas. It took me a long time and a lot of delving into current thinking about what morality really is in order to understand Alcoholics Anonymous at a much more profound level. We talk in Alcoholics Anonymous of taking of ourselves a searching and fearless moral inventory. I happen to live in the state of Florida, way below the Mason-Dixon line, which has a lot of people living here who are still of the old time, give me that good old time, Southern Baptist religious belief system. And in my world, that doesn't sit well at all, because I believe that one of the most immoral things human beings can do to each other is attempt to convey to them the importance and their insistence upon converting them to their own ways of thinking about spirituality, and by extension, what people think is the only way to attain spirituality, or belief in a power greater than themselves. There's a lot of scuttlebutt that happens in AA and the fellowship, as it is most often referred, as anonymity. And from my own personal experience, I found a huge comical thing to be very, very true. For a program that's supposed to be anonymous, it is one of the gossipiest places I have ever been in my life, and people constantly are talking about other human beings in a manner that isn't often very complimentary. I read a book recently by one of these guys delving into moral psychology, and he gave me a new spin on what this thing called morality is. And I've come to believe it and sense it as being very real, very true, very authentic, and very unlike rigorous honesty as it is often expressed at Alcoholics Anonymous fellowship meetings. Gossip, he says, is any two human beings comparing their ideas about others in order to get a sense of their own sense of morality and what they think to be right or wrong. And that for me sits perfectly well. I referred earlier to this higher power thing. And the big book is a very democratic volume in that it has many descriptions and definitions of this higher power. The only one of which to me makes perfect sense, and that is the great reality within. And by extension, I can believe and understand and wrap my mind around the fact that every human being has deep within them the idea of a great reality. What anybody's personal reality is can be very, very different because of this mechanism we carry around between our ears and above our shoulders called the human brain. In the next episode of my sharing with you, I want to talk about Biology 101 and the fact that people who have been studying the brain for a while are now convinced that we as human beings have 3 brains in one skull. A very complex subject, but that's what I'm going to be discussing the next time we meet.